Yah, pay His holy name regard. We have come a long way, yet we got so far before our King. All of His saints sing till we the sons of righteousness. With healing stuff in our wings, we gone.
We gon' march to the city of God. We gon' dance, we gon' sing, we gon' run to the city, we gon' fly to the city of God. We gon' march to the city of God. We gon' dance, we gon' sing, we gon' run to the city of God.
I wanna go, I wanna go, I wanna go. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Wicked, I won't get down. Wicked, I won't get down now. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Wicked, I won't get down. Wicked, I won't get down now. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Wicked, I won't get down. Wicked, I won't get down now. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go. I wanna go. Yeah, I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. So.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise and honor to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is, by saying hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Once again, the Creator has allowed us to come before you another day, another night, bringing to you His great, holy, and exalted words, even the words of truth. My name is Mowreh IshYAH YIsraEL of the House of Israel, located right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, 1907 Vine Street, bringing to you nothing but the truth. And yes, it is true. All we're going to do is tell you the truth, for Yah ordained me to tell you the truth. And this is what I'm going to do. And who is this Yah? Yah is the creator of the heaven, the earth, the sea, and all that is therein is. Yah is the Elohim of our fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and YIsraEL, whom you may know as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yah is our king, He's our judge, He's our lawgiver, and Yah is our only Savior. And not just of Israel. Yah is the Savior of the world. And I praise the mighty Yah once again for allowing us to come before you with another opportunity to bring to you nothing but the truth. Before I get into my lesson tonight, I want to let everyone know that they can also get many of our broadcasts every day, starting at 8 a.m., 8 o'clock in the morning. And we plan a very series of broadcasts that you definitely want to get. This week we aired The Virtuous Woman of the Scriptures. We may have to replay it just because a lot of people didn't know. But this is a teaching that you want to get. So not only we will be coming on every day live, but you can also get a rebroadcast of one of our older shows that we have selected specifically for your edification and your studies towards the Most High. We apologize for our late arrival this night, this day, but we're here. Our subject tonight is on defined. And I know you might say to yourself, what exactly do that mean, defined? Well, defined is something that the scriptures teach us, show us, prophesy to us, tell us that we should be finding. If you've been studying the scriptures for years, or you've been studying the scriptures diligently, or you have made the scriptures the foundation and the primary focus of your life. And let me tell you, you don't have to try to fool me and trick me, because at the end of the day, Yahweh knows the individuals that have made this their primary focus. So you can't trick the Most High. And there's very signs that will follow those who made the scriptures, the word of Yahweh, their primary focus. Because once you do that, once you make that a part of your focus, your life, your existence, then there are certain things you should find. And we're going to go over these things that you should find. And not only find it, but you will also know, you will also understand what these things mean and represent. And this is why we just have to come to you twice a day now, because there's so many things that the Creator is showing us that we need to know. But we're talking about the find. And it's possible that it might be even more than what I was able to see. But in my studies thus far, I've seen 10 essential things that you should find in the scriptures. Very important, very essential, and without knowing these things, without finding these things, then you're really not finding nothing. And let me show you the first thing that I seen you should find in the scriptures. And I can understand this as number one, because without this, everything else is irrelevant. It's vain. It won't serve you at all. And let me show you what this is. And you'll find this in the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter. Again, we're dealing with the find. There's a lot of people searching for a lot of things. But are you searching for the various things that are you looking and searching for the various things that the Most High wants you to find? Or are you looking for something that won't help you whatsoever. Again, Genesis, the 6th chapter. And we're going to read starting at the 6th verse. This is what it says. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. For it repents me that I have made them. And watch the 8th verse. And this is the very first thing I've seen you should find. And watch what it says. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. And ask yourself, are you trying to find grace in the eyes of Yahweh? And if you answer to say yes, that you are trying to find grace in the eyes of Yahweh, how are you trying to find grace in the eyes of Yahweh? How are you doing that? Well, let me show you how Noah did that in the 9th verse. It says, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with Elohim. So this is how Noah attempted to find grace in the eyes of Yahweh. Is this what you're trying to do? Is this your legacy? Is this your walk? Is this what you're doing in your generation? Is this the type of man you are? A just man. Because there's things in the scriptures that you should find. And Noah found it. He found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. And of course, Noah was not the only one that found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. Let me just show you one other person. Since we're discussing and talking about finding things. And watch what this says. And we're going to go to the book of Genesis also. Genesis, the 18th chapter. And watch what this says. The very first verse. And Yahweh appeared to him in the plains of Mowreh. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. Speaking of Abraham. And he lifted up his eyes and looked. And behold, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground and said, my master, if now I have found favor in your sight. And I may add, the word favor and the word grace, they're the same words. They come from the same Hebrew word. It's just some they translate favor and some they translate grace. But grace is favor and favor is grace. If now I have found favor in your sight, pass not away, I pray you, from your servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. and I fetch a morsel of bread and comfort your hearts. After that you will pass on. For therefore have you come to your servant. And they said, so do as you have said. And why? Because this is a man that have found grace in the sight of Yahweh. And how do you find grace in the eyes of Yahweh? How do you find favor in the eyes of Yahweh? See, that's what you should be studying. That's what you should know so that you can find. But the mass majority of the people, they will live every day not trying to find nothing. As a matter of fact, they will attempt to only look to receive, look to for their desires to be fulfilled. So they're not looking to find anything. And this is something that if you're not trying to find, then what type of life are you really trying to live? And you're not even trying to find the most essential things in life. And number one essential thing in life that you can even look for is to try to find grace, try to find favor in the eyes of Yahweh. Of course, I can go through all the scriptures and show you the various individuals that have found this grace. And they didn't find this grace. They didn't find this favor. And what do the word favor mean? Grace mean? That means you have done something in your life that made you a favorite of Yahweh. And once you become a favorite of Yahweh, the sky's the limit. And who don't want to be a favorite of Yahweh but a fool? The find. That's what we're talking about. Are you trying to find anything? Are you trying to find favor or grace? Let me share with you this very second thing that I seen that one should be trying to find. The second thing. One is grace. But watch the find number 2. And you'll read this in the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. And I love this scripture here because to find anything, you got to labor to do something. You have to work to do something. So you're not going to accidentally find these things like you finding some money on the streets. No. These are things you're going to have to labor in, work in, and they have to be a part of you. The very second thing that I seen is in the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. And we're going to start reading let's start reading 20th verse and watch what this is. And Yahweh said, because of the crime of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come to me. And if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from there, went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before Yahweh. And Abraham drew near and said, will you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Perhaps there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from you to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous shall be as the wicked. That be far from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And watch what the Creator says. After Abraham had challenged him, challenged the way, the manner in which he judged. But watch how Yahweh responds. The 26th verse. And Yahweh said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. Ain't that something? You mean to tell me that if Yahweh have found, and that's what we're talking about, define, things that you should be finding, things that you should be looking for, things that you should be searching out. Because if there were a certain amount of righteous in a city, do you realize Yahweh will spare the city because of the righteous? So in every city that you might find yourself in, you should be searching and looking and trying to find the righteous. Because the more righteous you find, the better off you will become. Watch what it says. Look at the 28th verse. Perhaps there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Would you destroy all the city for the lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 45, I will not destroy it. And he spoke to him yet again and said, perhaps there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. In other words, our people are not looking for the righteous at all. They're looking, searching to see the mistakes, the flaws, the imperfection of the righteous, so that they can point their finger, so that they can judge unjustly, so that they can talk about them. And see, this man is, he's seeing too. So they looking for the flaws of man, but not Yahweh. Yahweh already know your flaws. What Yahweh looks for in the scriptures and what a man of Elohim looked for in the scriptures is for the righteous, because they know Yahweh is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. And Yahweh loved righteousness so much that he will spare a whole city full of wicked people just because of the righteous. And that tells me two things. One, I want to be amongst the righteous. And number two, I want to be righteous. Who want to be a part of a bunch of wicked people that ain't doing the right thing? But somebody who's ready to be destroyed. Defined. How do you spend your days and nights? Are you looking for something? Are you searching for something? Because if you're trying to find the things the scriptures is telling you to find, the scriptures teach us to find, the scriptures prophesy we should be finding, then this you got to labor in this. You got to work in this. This is nothing that you just trip over and, oh, I found this. No, you don't trip over these type of things. Not trying to find grace in the eyes of Yahweh, no. And then, number two, to find that you are numbered and counted among the righteous. Here it is in the book of Genesis, the 18th chapter. This thing went all the way down to the 32nd verse. And watch what it says. And he said, oh, let not Yah be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Perhaps 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And this is how you know our people, Yahweh said he has to make the crooked things straight. Because our people, they're not looking for the righteous at all. They looking to tear down the righteous. Point the fingers at the righteous. Destroy the righteous. Not uplift anybody. But if you're looking for the right things, if you're trying to find the right things, then you should be looking for the righteous. But let me show you number 3. The third thing that I seen that one should be trying to find. Not because I say you should be trying to find it. The scriptures say you should be trying to find it. We showed you about finding grace in the eyes of Yahweh. We showed you even Yahweh looks, search for the righteous. But let me show you the number 3. And you'll find this in the book of Genesis 41. Let us turn there. Because if you are a person of Elohim, in other words, you have the spirit of Elohim in you, which is called the fear of Elohim, then there are certain things that you just should be finding. And you got to ask yourself, are you finding these things? And if you are finding these things, how do we know? How can we know? And you can know. not only you could know, but people would see the findings in you. And why? Because you found it. See, you found it because you searched it out like hidden treasures. And so now we can see you wearing it. Not in your pockets, not on your feet, but we can see it all upon you. The third thing, watch what it says. Genesis 41. Now, everybody is not going to see it because everybody is not looking for to find anything. Nor can everybody see the great findings of Yahweh. But if you can, this is the third thing in the book of Genesis 41. And watch what it says. And we're going to start reading the 33rd verse. This is what it says. This is the third thing that I found. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh look out a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the fifth part of the land of Egypt in the 7 plenteous years. And let them gather all the food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. And that food shall be for store to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land perish not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And watch what it says. And Pharaoh said to his servants, watch the question, can we find such a one as this is, a man in whom the spirit of Elohim is? Can we find such a man like that? Who's looking for a man like that? Who's searching for a man like that? One with the spirit of Elohim. No wonder we don't respect one another. No wonder we don't show love to one another. No wonder we don't honor one another, because we're not even looking for a man with the spirit of Elohim. Here's a man named Yosef taken out of prison, taken out of jail, but once they seen his spirit, because at this time, his spirit was not manifested yet, but once they seen it, then they knew the type of man that was in their midst. But the question is, who's looking for this? Because if you're not looking for this, then how in the world can you find it? And you're not even looking for it. How can you find grace in the eyes of Yahweh and you're not even looking for grace in the eyes of Yahweh? How can you be found to be righteous and you're not even looking to be righteous? And how in the world can you find a man with the spirit of Elohim and you know you're not even looking for that? 39th verse. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, for as much, this is how he knew this man had the spirit of Elohim. For as much as Elohim has showed you all this, there is none so discreet and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and according to your word shall all the people be ruled. Only in throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, put it upon Joseph's hand, arrayed him in garments of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. Make no mistake about it. You won't find nobody doing this to a man with the spirit of Elohim, because that's not how they see a man of Elohim or a man with the spirit of Elohim. And I don't care what this man showed you. You're not going to do this as Pharaoh did. That was the third thing that I seen. And all over the scriptures, you will see the heathens always looking for this type of man. I said the heathens. I'm not even talking about Israel, because Israel definitely is not looking for this type of man. They would rather for every man to be as the next man. They would rather see the faults of man, the errors of man, the blemishes of man. But see, Yahweh, he don't see as man sees. Let me just show you an example of this. You find this in the book of Daniel. You turn there for a second, because we're talking about the third thing you should be looking for. The third thing that you should be trying to find. And watch what this says. You'll find it in Daniel, I think it's going to be the 5th chapter. And we're going to start reading at Daniel 5 and 8. And this is what it says. And we're talking about the third thing that you should be looking for, you should be finding. The 8th verse. Then came all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof. Then was the king Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his masters were astonished. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king, and his masters, lords, came into the banquet house. And the queen spoke and said, O king, live forever. Let not your thoughts trouble you, nor let your countenance be changed. She said, don't worry what you trouble for. And why was she so confident and he wasn't confident at all? But this is why. Watch what the 11th verse says. There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy Elohims. And in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the Elohims was found in him, whom the king Nebuchadnezzar, your father, the king, I say, your father, made master over the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers. For as much as an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding, interpreting dreams, and showing of hard sentences, dissolving of doubts, were found in the same Daniel, whom the king named Belshazzar. Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. Here it is. The third thing that we should be trying to find. And why aren't we looking for a man in whom the spirit of Elohim is? Watch what it says. Then was Daniel brought in before the king, and the king said to Daniel, are you that Daniel which are the children of the captivity of Yehuda, whom the king my father brought out of Yehuda? I've even heard of you, that the spirit of the Elohims is in you, and that light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in you. Who's looking for that type of man? Who even knows such a man? Have you tripped over him? Have you seen him? Have you heard him? But the real question is, are you even looking for him? That was the third thing. And as I told you before, there's 10 different things that I've seen that one should be trying to find. These things are essential to your life, essential to your salvation. And let me show you the fourth thing. And the fourth thing really is the greatest thing. It is the one thing that people say they found. But if you found this fourth thing is the very thing that separates you from everybody else. It separates you from the pack. And let me show you what that is. You find this in the book of 2 Chronicles, the 15th chapter. And see the way these things are ordered. They order by the very purpose in which it was made and brought forth. So don't think the order is the order of importance. They all are important, but they have purpose in the order that it lies in. Watch this in the book of 2 Chronicles, the 15th chapter. The very first verse. And the spirit of Elohim came upon Azariah, the son of Obediah. And we just talked about the spirit of Elohim finding a man with the spirit of Elohim. Well, we got that. Now, once we have that, now what are you looking for? Since now you have this man that has you done found this man. Now what? Watch what it says. And he went out to meet Asa and said to him, hear you me, Asa, all Yehuda and Benjamin. Yahweh is with you while you are with him. And if you seek him, he will be found by you. But if you forsake him, he will forsake you. Now for a long season, Israel has been without the true Elohim, without a teaching priest, and without the law. But when they in their trouble did turn unto Yahweh Elohim of Israel and sought him, he was found of them. Who is trying to turn to Yahweh that they might find him? You got to find Yahweh. You got to find the Most High. And the only way you're going to find him is if you seek him. The word seek means to search for him, to look for him. Most people already think they found him, so they ain't looking for nothing. They not searching for nothing because they already think they found him. Well, if you found him, then why haven't you found grace in his eyes? If you found him, then why isn't you counted among the righteous, or are you? And if you found Yahweh, then why can't you even tell us a man in whom is the spirit of Elohim? But yet you say you found Yahweh. And there's only one way to find Yahweh. You got to seek Yahweh. And people only think they found him. No, if you found Yahweh, then your life will reflect your find. Watch this. In the book of Isaiah 55, because we're talking about the fourth thing you should be looking for, or the fourth thing you should be trying to find. In the book of Isaiah 55, the fourth verse, or the sixth verse, 55 and 6, this is what it says. Seek you Yahweh while he may be found. Call you upon him while he is near. And how do you do that? Let me show you. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yahweh, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our Elohim, for he will abundantly pardon. That's if you find him. That's if you forsake your way. That's if you forsake your thoughts. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, said Yahweh. I know you think your way is right. It's not right at all. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. As I stated before, there's about 10 essential, significant, and very important things that you should be trying to find. And you got to ask yourself, have you found these things? I mean, truly found these things. Because if you found the first thing, that's something you will never lose if you found it. As a matter of fact, if you find all four of these things, you will not lose it. Unless you really didn't find it. The fifth thing that I seen that you should be searching out, looking for, and making it your work, your labor to try to find. And it's in the book of Proverbs, the 2nd chapter. And how can I assume that you're not looking for these things? You're not finding these things. Can I assume that? Well, the Creator says, if you seek me, you shall what? Find me. So I have to assume that. Because you will find the Most High. And if you find the Most High, then you have a different type of walk. A different type of way. Watch what it says. The fifth thing that I seen you should be finding. It's in the book of Proverbs, the 2nd chapter. And watch what it says. My son, if you will receive my words and hide my commandments with you, so that you incline your ear unto wisdom, and apply your heart unto understanding. Yea, if you cry after knowledge, and lift up your voice for understanding, if you seek her as silver, and search for her as for hidden treasures. Watch what will happen if you did this. Then shall you understand the fear of Yahweh, and find the knowledge of Elohim. My goodness. Is this how you find the knowledge of Elohim? Is this how you understand the fear of Yahweh? And what do it say you have to do? Incline your ear unto wisdom. Who do that? Apply your heart unto understanding. Cry after knowledge. Who do that? And lift up your voice for understanding. If you seek her as silver, that means to look for, like you're looking for some money. And search for her as hidden treasures. Yeah, who do these things? So that you can understand the fear of Yahweh. But, so you really can find the knowledge of Elohim. Are you looking for anything? Are you searching for anything? Are you finding anything? Because if you're not looking, how can you find? And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're discussing. We're discussing the find. Because there's some things, here it is, you've been studying all this time. You've been searching all this time. You've been looking all this time. But what have you found? You can't tell me about a man whom the spirit of Elohim is, what you've been looking for. You can't tell me and show me who the righteous is. What in the world are you looking for? You can't tell me one that has favor, who has found grace in the eyes of Yahweh. No wonder. Because if you can't tell me these things,
90 seconds.
what that does tell me is that indeed you're not finding the knowledge of Elohim. You're not even finding that knowledge. Because finding the knowledge of Elohim is number 5.
Sixty seconds.
Let's go to number 6. Let's go to number 6. Number 6 is in Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. And what are we discussing? What are we talking about? And right before I show you number 6, though, let me just point out one more thing about the knowledge of Elohim. Just one more thing about that.
Ten seconds.
And I think you're going to find this in the book of Hosea. The 6th chapter. And one of our beloved Mowrehs, Mowreh Napthtali, brought this out. Now it makes even more sense to me. Watch what it says. Hosea, the 6th chapter, the 6th verse. It says, "For I desired mercy and not sacrifice." A lot of people want to make sacrifices, but Yahweh is not looking for no sacrifice. Man, I sacrificed this for you. And I sacrificed that for you. And I sacrificed this for you. Yahweh is not looking for those sacrifices anyway. He desired mercy and not sacrifice. And the knowledge of Elohim more than burnt offerings. See, you think just because you're doing things for somebody, you done made sacrifices for somebody, that's what it's all about. Man, you can take them sacrifices and flush them down the toilet. That's not what Yahweh looking for. He's looking for mercy, and he's looking for your knowledge. More than anything that you can sacrifice. But I can understand why that's not known. That's not done. Because you're not finding the knowledge of Elohim. Who make their business just to show mercy? One that has the knowledge of Elohim. Now we can go to number 6. Going back to the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. My goodness. How long you been studying? How long you been reading? How long you said you know the truth? Well, are you finding anything? Do you know anything? Have anything been found? I can assure you, if you found a bunch of money, we will know that. But what we know if you found any of the things that we point out today? Number 6, in the book of Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, the 6 things that I found that one should be looking for, one should be searching out, and ultimately, one should be finding. And this is what it says. Proverbs 3:1. My son, forget not my law, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to you. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them about your neck. Write them about the table of your heart. Now, why would I do all those things? Watch what it says in the 4th verse. So shall you find favor and a good understanding in the sight of Elohim and man. How else can you find good understanding? By keeping his commandments, by not forgetting his law, by making sure mercy and truth is always with you, by binding that mercy, binding that truth about your neck, and writing these things upon the table of your heart. In other words, it has to become you. You will have to become it. And then you can talk about how good your understanding is. People think they just understand things, and they ain't searched out nothing. They ain't looked for nothing, but they want to tell me what they understand. How you understand this? And you ain't searched this thing out. You ain't sought nothing. This has to become you. You have to labor in this. You have to work in this. You think you can just pick up the scriptures and just because you decide to read it, you can understand it? That's not how the scriptures work. That's not how Yahweh works. No wonder you think you know things you don't know. Understand things you don't understand. Because you think this is a book like any other book and you can just pick it up and read it and understand it. Just like anyone else. And all you did was show us you ain't found nothing. Because you don't even know or have good understanding. You didn't find it. You only think you found it. Watch what it says in the book of Psalms. Talking about the find. What have you found? Are you finding anything? Psalms 111. Watch what it says. Dealing with number 6. The 6th thing that if you truly searching out something, you should have found this. Watch what it says. Psalms 111. The 10th verse. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endures forever. This is how you have good understanding. You should have been done found this if you are a commandment keeper. People just talk as if they keep Yahweh commandments. To keep Yahweh commandments, you got to know his commandments. And I can assure you, we're going to go over these commandments just to see if you even understand them. That was number 6. The 7th thing that I found in the scriptures, that if you're searching this thing out, if you're looking, if you're seeking, this is something you should have found. And I love this scripture here. I mean, I really love it. You'll find it in the book of Proverbs, the 20th chapter. Because this is something that most people, once again, don't understand. You got to have a good understanding. So they'll read the scripture, but they don't understand it. And watch what it says in the book of Proverbs, the 20th chapter, the 6th verse. And this is what it says. Proverbs 20:6. Most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness. Yeah, that's people who talk about themselves all the time. But a faithful man, who can find? Who can find a faithful man? Most people don't know what a faithful man look like, because they don't know what faithfulness is, how Yahweh measures a faithful man. The faithful man to most people is how faithful they are to them, not just they faithful. But no, they look and judge and measure their faithfulness based on their own eyes, based on their own wisdom, based on their own understanding. But their faithfulness is not based on the word of Yahweh. And when people are looking from their own eyes, ain't nobody gonna be faithful. But when you look at the word of Yahweh and you see as Yahweh see, then you will see something totally different. Let me show you something. Just a couple things on this faithful man. Because as many of you all might know, in the scriptures, the most faithful man in the scriptures that Yahweh talked about was this man called Moses. Very faithful. Very faithful man. But Yahweh, and there's so many scriptures I can show you on this, but let me just show you a couple scriptures real quick. One is in the book of Isaiah, the 11th chapter. See, Yahweh is always looking for a faithful man. Not the man you consider faithful, because Yahweh don't look, he don't see as man see it. this is another thing we have to come to understand. In the book of Isaiah, the 11th chapter, this is what it says in the very first verse. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of Yahweh shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of the knowledge and of the fear of Yahweh, and shall make him a quick understanding in the fear of Yahweh. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, because that's what's happening today. That's how you know the mass majority of the people don't have these type of spirits. Just by what they see and how they judge, what they hear. Watch what it says. The 4th verse, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And watch this 5th verse. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. Yeah, faithfulness. And why? Because you should be looking for this faithful man. And you can rest assured, just like there's great signs where you can tell, you can see, you can determine a faithful man in the scriptures, you know the ones that ain't faithful. Let me just give you one sign to show you an unfaithful man in the book of Proverbs, the 11th chapter. See, we don't have to go by our own eyes. We don't have to go by our own ears. We don't have to go by our own mouth. We can go by the word of Yahweh, because that's how you determine everything. But who do that? In the book of Proverbs, the 11th chapter, watch what it says. We're talking about number 7. The 7th thing that I found, that everyone, if you're looking, if you're searching, if you're studying, if you're seeking, you should be finding. Proverbs, the 11th chapter, the 13th verse. It says a talebearer reveals secret. Yeah, a talebearer, they just run their mouth. And they attempt to tell everybody's business, irregardless of how it's going to land, because they don't care. A talebearer reveals secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit conceals the matter. A faithful man. Let me show you one other scripture on this in the book of Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter. See, each one of these things, if you're looking and searching it out, you can know and you can understand and you can find that knowledge of Elohim that you need to have to understand all these things. In the book of Jeremiah 23, this is what it says. The 25th verse. I've heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have a dream, I have a dream. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets, that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams, which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. The prophet that has a dream, let him tell a dream. And he that has my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the chaff to the wheat, says Yahweh? Is not my word like as a fire, says Yahweh, like a hammer that breaketh the rocks in pieces? That's how Yahweh's word is. In other words, ask yourself this. Will Yahweh give an unfaithful man his word? No. Yahweh is looking for the faithful that's going to speak his word faithfully. A faithful man, who can find? The eighth thing that I see that one should be finding, if they searching it out. These are things you got to look for, you got to seek, you got to search for. You got to labor in this. You got to work in this. And most people are not working. They talking. They say they reading. They say they studied it. Then you should be finding it. And look at the eighth thing. The eighth thing that I found is in the book of Proverbs. Also, 31. And this is what it says. Because at some point, your search, your seeking, your looking should be finding something. But if you found these things, would not we know? Would not you show that you found something? In the book of Proverbs 31, the 10th verse, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. It is. We talk about this a lot, and every time we talk about it, we got a bunch of people getting mad at us. You wouldn't get mad at all if you found this. This is something good to find. This is something great to find. This is one of the 10 treasures that you should be unearthing, discovering. Why do you think it's a question? Who can find a virtuous woman? And why is that so important? Because her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. And I can just go on and on and on. But at the end of the day, who can find her? Have you found her? Do you know her? Who's searching for her? Because rest assured, if you search for her and you look for her and you study her, then that can become you. Defined is not defined for the benefit of other people. Defined is to benefit you. You searching these things for your self-benefit, for your well-being, for your salvation. Yahweh wants you to find these things because to get into the kingdom of Yahweh, You think you can just waltz in there like anybody? What's that one man name? Think they call him Conor McGregor or something like that, and he just be walking like this. You think you can just waltz into Yahweh's kingdom like Conor McGregor? No, man, that's a fool. That ain't what you're trying to find. That's not how the righteous strut. But if you searching and finding and looking for the right thing, oh, you'll be in Yahweh's kingdom. That ninth thing that I seen, that you should find. The ninth thing. And as I stated before, in my search, in my studies, these are the 10 essential things that you should be finding. Now, the search for many might have just begun, and that's okay, because you got a little time left. But make no mistake, time is running out. That's why we're bringing you these things. You got to start finding something. And you're not going to find nothing if you ain't searching for nothing. You ain't looking for nothing. Watch what it says. In the book of Jeremiah, the 6th chapter, the 9th thing that I seen. That if you're searching and you're looking, you should be finding. In the book of Jeremiah, the 6th chapter, watch what it says. The 16th verse. Thus says Yahweh, stand you in the ways. Who way? Not your way. And see. And ask for the old paths. Here it is. Nobody asking for the old paths. Well, how did our fathers do this? How did our mothers do this? No, we're not asking for that at all. Where is the good way? Nobody's asking, where's the good way? And walk therein. Because if you did these things, watch what it says, and you shall find rest for your souls. No wonder we don't have no rest. No wonder. But they say we will not walk therein. You think our mothers acted the way you act today? I'm talking about our foremothers. I'm talking about Sarah and Ruth and Abigail and Raquel and Leah. Is that how you act? And what about our forefathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses, David, Daniel, Noah, Job. No wonder we don't have no rest. We're not asking for the old past. We're not asking where. Nor are we walking therein. And if we don't do this, then how can we find rest for our souls? In the book of Psalm 37, turn there. Watch what it says. In the book of Psalms 37. Watch the 7th verse. Because when you finding rest, this is the rest that you want to find. This is the rest you will become. Watch what it says in the 7th verse. Psalm 37 and 7. Rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Who do that? No, we want things now. We want it done now. We want to see it now. We want to get it now. But we don't want to rest in Yahweh. And watch what happens. Because when you don't rest in Yahweh and you don't wait patiently for him, watch what it says. Fret not yourself because of him who prosper in his way. Look at them. He doing it. She doing it. They doing it. Look how they doing it. Who cares about how they doing it? Rest in Yahweh and wait patiently. Watch what it says. Because of the man who brings wicked devices to pass. And I love this 8th verse because it goes with the 7th verse. Cease from anger. Forsake wrath. Fret not yourself in any wise to do evil. Because when you do that, rest assured, you're not resting in Yahweh. Because you're too mad. You're too angry. You're too wrathful. And at some point in time, you're going to have to find some rest. But if you don't, it's only because you're not looking, you're not seeking, you're not searching, you're not laboring in this thing. You're not working. And if you're not working and you're not laboring, how then can you expect to find? And let me show you the 10th thing that one should find. And I may add, this thing, we think we found it. The mass majority of people obviously think they found it, but they ain't found nothing. And watch what this says. And you're going to see that you ain't found it. In the book of Amos. Defined 10 essential things that if you're looking and you're searching, you should have found something. And you'll read this in the book of Amos, the 8th chapter. The 11th verse. And this is what it says. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not of bread, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of the hearing, the words of Yahweh. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. In that day shall the fair virgins and the young men faint for thirst, because their thirst is going to be in the word of Yahweh. And you're not going to find it. Why? Because when it was here, you didn't even look for it. You didn't even care about it. You never even sought it out. You thought you had it already. You thought because you went to Barnes and Noble, you thought because you purchased something on the internet that you found the word of Yahweh. And you didn't find nothing. Because you never searched for nothing. You never sought out nothing. You think all you got to do is go in Kroger's or Walmart, scan a book, and you don't found Yahweh's word? I'm here to tell you. I'm here to disappoint you that you ain't found nothing until you learn how to seek his words. Watch what it says in the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter, the last scripture. The 10 essential things that if you're really looking, if you're really searching, you should have been done found something. And if you ask the average person, do they know this? Do they know that? Have they seen this? Have they seen that? They can't tell you nothing. But don't get mad at them. Don't sigh at them. Don't drop your head at them. They're just telling you and declaring what you should already know. They're not seeking. They're not searching. Therefore, they haven't found. And this is what it said in the book of Isaiah, the 34th chapter. The 16th verse. And watch what it says. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh. And here we got some confused people tell you that this is talking about some wild beasts and some birds and some. This is not talking about no owls and no vultures. Don't allow yourself to be bamboozled and tricked. Watch what it says. Seek you out of the book of Yahweh and read. Why? Because that's where his word is. Why? Because this is what separates you from everything. Why? Where do you think the knowledge of Elohim is? The grace is. The righteousness is. The man in which the spirit of Elohim is. Where do you think Yahweh is? The only way you know Yahweh is through his word. Where do you think you can find the knowledge of Elohim and a good understanding? A faithful man, a virtuous woman. How do you think you can find rest for your own soul? It's only one way. Seek you out of the book of Yahweh and read. Not one of these shall fail. What? An owl? A vulture? No. Not one of his books. None shall want her mate. For my mouth, it has commanded, and the Spirit, it has gathered them that find. Have you found anything? Are you looking for anything? Are you searching for anything? Well, if you are searching, you are looking, then you should be finding. So until tomorrow, Yahweh love you, and so do I. Shalom.
I'm the messenger, Yah, stepping out of Beulah. From Babylon to Zion, my chains are looser in my mind. But out here, the jakes will shoot you. The judges judge for hire, the juries are straight liars. Just to see Israel fried up. They got our phones tapped and wired up. The police got you stuck. No one desires us. This law requires us to buy this man's trust. Pay to get salvation. Who you playing? But I pulled your card. I seen your stars. They false lights. My spirit spit lyrics so cold, your frostbite. And that's the attitude from your murderous plight, from your rapists every night, and young boys shot down in the street in their mama's sight.